In every life, some rain must fall, and you'll get wet as your sorrow calls. Oh, the sun will rise on a brand new morn. You'll be warm and dry and freshly born.
With support from Judith Roberts and in memory of our good friend Tom Kapuscinskis, and with additional support from the Marshall County Community Foundation and the Indiana Arts Commission and E. Lee Marshall, from historic downtown Plymouth, Indiana, where the Lincoln Highway and the Michigan Road cross the banks of the beautiful Yellow River, it's the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour. I'm your announcer, Maggie Kubley, and joining us today is an innovative guitar player, influenced by guitar greats Joe Satriani, Alex Lifeson, Preston Reed, and Michael Hedges. He's known for gathering second place in Guitar Player Magazine's 2006 Guitar Superstar Contest, and as a semifinalist in the Yamaha 6-String Theory Competition. He has produced 5 studio albums: Nightland, Powerfield, Vortex of Discovery, Gone Before Morning, and Candlelight Utopia. He's opened for Michael Kelsey, Pete Huttlinger, Brian Henke, Kate Ryder, and legendary blues legend Guy Davis. Gentle people, help us welcome Indiana's own guitar legend from Warsaw, Indiana, the one and only Patrick Woods. Also on hand today is a singer-songwriter from Goshen, Indiana, who is a national touring artist who has been entertaining audiences since 2016. She's traversed most of the states as a one-woman symphony with guitar, foot percussion, flute, and more. She plays original tunes alongside a unique mix of covers across multiple genres and eras. Please welcome Anna P.S. to our Wild Rose Moon stage. And now, recorded live from the Wild Rose Moon Performing Arts Center in historic downtown Plymouth, Indiana, where the Art Deco Reese Theater is now enjoying its second lifetime of excitement and inspiration for the benefit of the local and regional community. Here is the radical rascal of all things lunar, or lunatic, your radio hour host, George Schricker.
The river goes round, around the bend. The river goes round, round, round till the very end. And when it stops, woo, it starts again. It won't be long till the river goes round. It won't be long till the river goes round and round and round, my friend. Well, thank you so much for joining us at Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour today. And we're here with Maggie Kubley. Maggie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm really good, yeah.
You've been to Chicago lately?
Yeah, I was there last week.
Wow. And is it still there? I mean,
as far as I can tell, yeah. No, the lake is there.
Yeah,
and
the restaurants.
The restaurants are there.
Oh,
the hot dogs are there.
Oh, the
mustard
hot dogs.
only.
That's right. Oh, mustard only. Okay.
Don't you dare put ketchup on a hot dog
well,
in Chicago.
I wouldn't think of it. Hey, now we have some lovely words here today.
We do.
From our resident soothsayer.
Yes, we do. Our resident poet and philosopher, Rosie. At the moment, Rosie sits on this stool right here at the moon. She has ringed wild roses around her head, multicolored braids down her back, and is attired in a silken dress with pea-green leather petals. Rosie sits pensive and ready to dispense thoughts that are, in the words of Carl the skateboarder, both rad and gnarly. Her philosophical notes spring from her hands, both of which are verdant green leaves. John, could you help us to properly welcome Rosie to our Wild Rose Moon stage?
We have a note from Rosie. This note wonder of a note, fresh off a ferry boat. If we voted on a quote, this note we'd vote to go. We have a note from Rosie.
It looks like you already have the note, but this is the symbolic note, so I'm going to give that to you too. Dan Schubert is here. Let's give him a nice hand. Dan has been a friend of the Moon ever since we started, and a friend of mine for a lot longer than that.
Well, Rosie and I go back. She kept a room on the front of our home, and I'd sneak over and talk to her once in a while when I thought Vera might have said some bad things to her.
Yeah.
Here's Rosie's note. Often called the godfather of comedy rock, Frank Vincent Zappa was an American musician, composer, and bandleader. His work is characterized by nonconformity, free-form improvisation, sound experimentation, musical virtuosity, and a touch of satire of American culture. In a career spanning more than 30 years, Zappa composed rock, pop, jazz fusion, orchestral, and musique concrète works. He also produced almost all of the 60-plus albums that he released with his band, the Mothers of Invention, as a solo artist. He is considered one of the most innovative and stylistically diverse musicians of his generation. Here are a few words of his about music, performance, and composition. Quote, "Music in performance is a type of sculpture. The air in the performance is sculpted into something." And this, a composer is a person who goes around forcing his will on unsuspecting air molecules, often with the assistance of unsuspecting musicians.
Give it up for Rosie! Dan.
Thank you to both Dan and Rosie for providing us with those enigmatic words from Mr. Frank Zappa.
Well, that was excellent, John. John, you do such a great job. You know, I can't get your song out of my head.
Which song, George?
The one about Rosie.
Oh, the one I just did?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty recent. It'd be hard to get it out of your head that quick.
Yeah. But the note boat thing has just got me going. And I'm like in the shower singing your song. It's like I can't.
Well, I'd like to see that.
No, I can guarantee you wouldn't. You wouldn't like to see that at all. Okay. Well, and I see that you have your radio hat on today instead of your regular hat.
George, I'm not wearing a hat.
That's what I mean.
Oh, radio.
Yeah, radio hat.
Because
right.
people can't see on a
But
radio.
would you describe your regular hat?
The one I'm not wearing?
Yes. Yeah, could you do that? Because they want to see that. They want to be able to see the hat that you normally wear to the show.
You know, we had April Virch and Joe Newberry in here not too long ago,
Yes.
and Joe Newberry walked by me. The first thing he said to me was, Open Road, which is the model of John B. Stetson hat that I was wearing.
Okay.
So that's a man that knows his hats.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, thank you. Well, I'd like to know more about your hat someday, but I think we need to address our special guest, Patrick Woods, who's joining us here today. Patrick, I got to ask you before you play a piece, and I want you to play a piece right away, but you know, we had those words from Frank Zappa about sculpting the air. What do you think about that? I was wondering, metaphysically, can you relate to that idea?
Well, I kind of get in a sense, metaphorical sense of what he's saying. I think it's James Taylor also said when someone asks him, "How do you come up with that song, man? It's just so perfect," and he says, "Oh, you just kind of grab it out of the air."
Yeah,
I think
it's the same thing.
So it's just one of those. it's kind of like a well of ideas that the universe has, and once in a while you get lucky enough to go there.
Yeah, well, let's have you join the universe right now, which you do so well with one of your pieces.
All right, so this tune is based on a fantasy I had when I was a kid of touring and what glamorous life it must have been, and then I got to realize when I was older what touring was really like. So it's kind of like that contrast. And so this is a song about that. This is called Highways and Daydreams.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, when I first saw you play, and I fell in love right away with what you were doing, and it was such a, you know, it's such a kinesthetic experience too for you, and it's like your whole body enters the whole piece. And it's I think in an interview with you, I read that you said something about it's like a little bit like acoustic rock guitar.
Correct, because I grew up on rock and roll, but my dad was also a folk and bluegrass musician, and he was also playing records in the house, you know, like Leo Cocky and you know, guys like that, and bluegrass music. So I kind of got that was kind of like part of my DNA, whether I liked it or not. So it just both come through, both influences, both kinds.
Oh yeah, and you can feel, you kind of feel all those spirits rising in your body when you're playing, because I can hear a little Leo Kotke in there, which is really exciting for me. I wanted to ask you, you started playing at 8, is that right?
I think I started messing around at 8. I think 10 years old was more where I started actually playing chords and things like that.
And you were in band in high school?
Yeah, well, I in high school I actually played percussion. I was in the drum line and played march snare for 3 years. So the percussion stuff definitely that's another influence. So.
Yeah, you have a lot of influences.
Yeah.
And, but you played some other instruments as well, right?
Well,
you dabbled in other things.
Well, I played drum. I think I consider drums my second instrument.
Yeah.
And then I've got a bass guitar and a keyboard and
right.
I'm kind of those are not my forte, obviously, but guitars on. Go ahead.
But do they help you with your composing?
Oh yeah. I think if you're any kind of composer or writer at all, you want to experiment with other instruments or at least different kinds of guitars because it makes you think differently and about harmony and melodies and things like that. So yeah, definitely.
So do these songs just sort of drop out of the air for you, or are they built out of emotional experiences? I know that you've got one song, for instance, about a tornado experience, which is, I see the song itself as a way to process that feeling.
Yeah, that's later on tonight because that's in a totally different tuning. But but
okay.
I will play it. But yes, I do have that. Like, okay, some of the songs come from deeply emotional experiences, and then some of them are just kind of surface everyday things.
Right.
Just a little everyday things can give you an idea for something, or like if you have even if you have a bad day, you can maybe strum your guitar in a certain way, and out comes a certain rhythm that can. From that experience, it's not a really deep meaning, but it can lead to other things, other good songs.
Well, in that case, it's a opportunity for you to root into the feeling itself, and then let the feeling speak in the music, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. Well, let it speak again. I'm all for you speaking on that lovely instrument of yours. And that, by the way, let's talk about that. Now, you're playing a carbon guitar?
Carbon fiber, yeah.
Carbon fiber. And is there a certain brand, or what is that?
No, this is a company called Journey Guitars, and on the back of it, you can actually unscrew it, and the neck comes off into 2 pieces, and you put it on a small case, kind of like a suitcase, and you can throw it on an airplane or wherever. So
that's great. It could probably keep you alive if the boat sank.
Yeah, I mean, I record all my albums with a normal wooden guitar. I have a custom guitar at home made out of East Indian rosewood, but you can't take something like that on the road, or it's just a disaster for it. So these are built for the road, and when you plug them in through, use the right electronics, then they can sound pretty good. So.
Oh yeah, they sound delightful.
Yeah.
Make it sound delightful one more time.
All right. So last song was a bit of rock and roll. I'm gonna do something subtle here. I'm gonna slow down. In fact, I'm even gonna sit down, which I don't usually do, but there's a couple of songs where I sit down. So, check the tune here. So this song is just a simple song about the cycle of the seasons. This is called A Year and a Day.
Patrick Woods. Very nice. Well, we're going to be back with Patrick in the next section, and we'll also feature another special performer from Goshen, Indiana, songwriter and musician Anna P.S. And also our curiously constructed Shoot the Moon game show, in which questions are asked that are biographically connected to our special musical guests.
With support from Judith Robert and in memory of our dear friend Tom Kapasinskis, and from the generosity of the Marshall County Community Foundation, the Indiana Arts Commission, and E. Lee Marshall, you're listening to the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour.
Well, welcome back to the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour. We're here with our special guest, Anna P.S. And you know, Anna, you've played here before.
I have played here before. You are correct.
And I don't know if you've ever done a radio show before, but I think so. Maybe.
I did one. I played a show here. Oh,
many years ago.
I can't remember the year. Maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
year and a half.
Something like that. And then
time is hard. I don't know.
Here.
Today's Saturday?
You were here with Patty Schaffner, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And that was a great teaming. It was great to have both of you here. And so you have 2 albums.
I do have 2 albums.
Into the Void is your latest?
I think it's In the Void.
Oh, sorry, In the Void. And before that, Umbrella.
That's correct.
Okay. And you have I went to your website, excuse me, but I see that you have jewelry on your website. You can buy made of Osage orange, right?
Yeah.
What is the significance of that?
I have a crafting problem. I like to make things.
Yeah, that's great.
And so a lot of them just land in my merch box and in my online store and my website.
Right. And you've traveled all over the country. My gosh, you've been in all kinds of places. I follow you on Facebook, so I know you've been all over and around, and that's really exciting. And you have a new song for us today. You said,
I do have a new song. I actually did some recording with Nate in December, and sometime this year I will have another CD out.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
No idea when.
Okay. Well, what's the name of this new song?
Cincinnati.
And how did you come to write it?
I did a writing retreat in the beginning of December to try to finish up a few songs to get them recorded. And I spent 2 days setting the songs that I wanted to finish, and I did not finish any of them. But at the end of the second day, the song popped out.
Can we hear it pop out even further?
Sure.
Okay.
spinning tales, weaving waves, making stories. It's I believe we could write a different tale, but I can't get the memory out of my mouth. This would be the last time. I'm tripping over my own feet and falling down. I can't get your name out of my mouth.
And a P.S.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from our hometown to yours, the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour presents our very own audience participation quiz show, Shoot the Moon!
It don't matter to me how smart you are. Maybe you're a big buffoon. You don't need to be quick on the draw. All you gotta do is shoot the moon. Shoot the moon. Shoot the moon.
And now, here's the host of Shoot the Moon, the man who likes to butter up the bacon and wave his daddles with enthusiasm while sporting a parish pickaxe and shaking his sauce box with an air of pod snappery, George Schricker.
Thank you so much, Maggie, for that lovely Nancy-narking introduction. Wonderful Victorian terms. Did you know that?
We've got to get him back into.
I know.
We got to bring him back.
Well, we've got a king, right?
Yeah.
We've got a new king.
Yeah, this is the perfect day.
Yeah.
Today?
Right. Okay. Well, while I call up today's contestants, would you mind reading the rules of this woefully contrived yet mentally challenging extravaganza?
Certainly. Prior to the show, audience members indicate their willingness to participate in Shoot the Moon by supplying an answer to this inane survey question. Are you now, or have you ever been, a student of behavioral psychology? And, with that question answered in a demonstrably random manner with any number of attendant variables distinguishing the method a person might freely choose, or so they may deceptively think in the affirmative, and, as a result, be needlessly subjected to this further interrogation. Are you ready, willing, and able to gently access your remarkable yet environmentally predetermined being in an often silly and self-deprecating manner in the futile attempt to answer a series of capricious and often ill-conceived questions?
Yes.
Eeks. And now, from a collection of audience members who have learned to slide down a greased chute of prunes into a vat of yogurt in front of a crowd of gawking onlookers while singing the of course I can part in two-part harmony. Exactly 2 contestants are chosen to spit their wits against each other. So now, let's play Shoot the Moon!
All right, and we have 2 wonderful contestants here, Vera Tiani and Christine Merriman. And thank you both for coming. And you are from, Christina, I learned that you are from Sweetwater, Tennessee. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Where is Sweetwater?
I tell people it's about 30 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville.
Because people are usually familiar with Knoxville. Sweetwater is a really small town.
Right, small town. And what's it like down there? Are those rolling hills? Or?
Oh, yeah, we got beautiful mountains. We got lots of fields. It's really pretty. A lot different terrain from Indiana, that's for sure.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
And Veritiani, you are from Michigan, are you not?
Yes.
Were you in a land of rolling hills up there, or close to water?
Well, no, Detroit.
Detroit, yeah, well.
Ann Arbor, Charlevoix. Yeah,
all those great places. Well, we're so excited to have you both here with us today on the game show, and we have some exciting categories, don't we, Maggie?
Wow, they're so exciting. They are.
And were you going to say are they listed in your...
Yes, they're so exciting. Let's run through them right now.
Okay.
Bessie Be Blue, Celestial Axemate, Player Stayer, Catching Wind, and then for the bonus round, Poppins Transport.
Okay, that's in case we've got a tie or don't have a tie, or it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to let Christina go first.
Oh,
that's
okay.
all right. And so which category would you like here?
Let's go with Catching Wind.
It just occurs to me, Nate, that the one thing I forgot to do was print out the questions this morning.
Well, that's going to make it hard to read them.
I know, so we're going to have to take a brief break, everybody, if you would, and you'll have to just... John, would you...
Yeah, water bottles. Go ahead and bring your water bottles out, too.
What?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Well, I better take this cable off of here. I'm all ready for what comes next.
Johnny Cash never had a finer keychain than that.
Thank you. Da 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 da. I know where the peach trees bear the harvest all year round. I know where the old gray mare eats bluegrass from the ground. George, can I violate copyright right now? Are we broadcasting this on YouTube? Oh, drat. Well, I better just quit then.
It's okay. You can just do a Beatles song now and just blow the whole thing out.
What's that?
Do a Beatles cover now to really make sure they take us off.
Well, fortunately, what I've sung so far, I can't find a recording of what I just sang. But if I go any further in the song, then there's lots of recordings of it. Oh, thank you. It gets even better.
And yes, okay.
You were just getting to the part where you were going to read the questions.
Oh, that's right. So, Christina, would you pick a category here?
I'm going to have to go with Catching Wind.
Catching Wind.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a question that we want to make sure that Patrick is in on because it involves one of his favorite people here. So we could.
All right.
Patrick Woods mentions in an interview that his musical life was changed upon listening to the music of Michael Alden Hedges. Is this correct?
Correct.
He was an American acoustic guitarist and songwriter, And he was born in 1953. His life in music began in Enid, Oklahoma, playing flute and guitar. He enrolled in Phillips University in Enid to study classical guitar and composition. And he studied composition as a composition major at Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore, Maryland. He made a living there by playing and singing in bars and restaurants in Baltimore. And in 1977, he played electric guitar and flute for a local group called the Lotus Band, which he left to start performing as a solo acoustic act. In 1980, he made plans to move to California to study music at Stanford. And he was contacted in February 1981 by William Ackerman, who heard him perform at the Varsity Theater in Palo Alto. Ackerman was so impressed with Hedges' performance, he signed him to a contract with Windham Hill Records on the spot. The contract was made on which one of the following? Was it made on A, a dollar bill, B, the evening's program, or C, a napkin?
I know it.
You do? Yes. You can give her clues. You can't say it out loud, but you can give her clues. Was it A, B, or C?
You're asking me. All right.
No. Just make the letter. Okay. Was it A, B, or C?
I'm going to go with
dollar bill, the evening's program, or a napkin.
I'm going to have to go with B.
It was a napkin.
Oh. I like that more, though. That's pretty
neat. You can be plainer in your gestures. You can stomp your foot or whatever you want to do.
Next time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Vera.
Oh. Let's see. Celestial Axmate.
Okay. Celestial Axmate. Here it comes.
Whatever that
I hope. Joseph Satriani is an American rock guitarist, composer, songwriter, and guitar instructor, and is a heavy influence for Patrick Woods. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in fact, you've met him, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay, because he was involved with a guitar player, right? Magazine. He was a judge.
Yeah, he was a judge for a contest that I was in once.
Yeah. Early in his career, Satriani worked as guitar instructor, and many of his former students achieved fame, including Steve Vai, Larry Lalonde, Rick Hunt, Kirk Hammett, Andy Timmons, Charlie Hunter, and Alex Skolnick. Satriani went on to have a successful solo musical career starting in the late 80s. He is a 15-time Grammy Award nominee and has sold over 10 million albums, making him the best-selling instrumental rock guitarist of all time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Wow. His work frequently makes reference to various science fiction stories and ideas. His albums and songs often have otherworldly titles, such as Not of This Earth, Crystal Planet, Is There Love in Space, and Engines of Creation. Which one of these is not a Satriani-themed work? Is it Surfing with the Alien, which refers to the comic book Silver Surfer? C. Oh, that's B, excuse me. That was A. B. Ice 9 refers to the secret government ice weapon in Kurt Vonnegut's Cats in the Cradle. And D. Sandworm, a reference to Frank Herbert's Dune, which features giant sandworms that produce melange, a drug that makes interstellar travel possible. Which one is it not a Satriani-themed work? Was it Surfing with the Alien, Ice 9, or Sandworm?
I don't know.
You know which one it's not?
Yes, I do know which one it's not.
How would you give a clue for that?
Is there a clue?
Is it,
Oh,
is it chilly in here?
I'm trying to think of a clue without giving it away.
Oh, you can give it
Oh,
away.
you can give it away.
I
That's
can give it
okay.
away?
Yeah.
Is it chilly in here? Or?
It's a creepy crawly thing.
Oh.
Yeah, the worm.
What?
The worm.
That's correct.
Oh.
Okay. All right, you're getting better. That's good. That's good. Okay. Back to you, Christina. Let's see if we can even the score here.
I'm going to go with Bessie Be Blue. I like the alliteration.
Bessie Be Blue. Okay. This is interesting because Patrick Wood was born and raised in Bedford, Indiana. Is that correct?
Born, not raised. Raised.
Oh, born. Okay, sorry. You were born in Bedford, Indiana, and Bedford is known as the
limestone capital of the world.
That's
Really?
right. That's right.
I don't know.
Because why? Because its large quarries, the limestone came out for the Empire State Building and the Pentagon. Bedford is about 70 miles south of Indianapolis and 18 miles south of Bloomington. In addition to the notable Patrick Woods, another distinguished performer was born in Bedford, and that would be Bessie DuBois. She began her career in vaudeville in 1900 and was half of Young and DuBois, an eccentric soft-shoe dancers act with fellow dancer Frank C. Young. Young and DuBois danced in the touring shows A Hole in the Ground, A Trip to Chinatown, and Hunting for Hawkins. She was discovered by actress Maxine Elliott and replaced Paula Edwards in The Showgirl. In 1904, she was part of the late Roger Brothers Company in the same cast as Fred Niblo, and her Broadway appearances include the musicals Mr. Bluebird, The Rogers Brothers in Paris, The Rogers Brothers in Ireland, and The Dairymaids. DuBois was cast in the cast of Mr. Bluebird when it played at the Iroquois Theater in Chicago. Is there still an Iroquois Theater in Chicago? I don't think so.
I don't believe so, no.
No, I don't think so either. The performance is best remembered in history. For what reason? We'll see if you know this. You've lived in Chicago all your life. This is a historical moment from Chicago, Maggie. Here we go. So, the performance is remembered because it featured the longest standing ovation up to this time in history, a total of 21 minutes and 37 seconds.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That was.
I don't know that I've ever liked a show that much.
B, as a result of a main sewage backup during the show, the theater was overrun with rats, causing an audience stampede, killing 3 people and injuring 27.
That's rough.
Or C, during the performance, a broken arc lamp caused a curtain to burst into flame, and the resulting building fire created one of the worst theater accidents in history.
Can you repeat A?
A, it featured the longest standing ovation, 21 minutes and 37 seconds.
I think I'm going to go with A.
I'm sorry, it was C. During the performance, a broken arc lamp caused a curtain to burst into flame. 602 people died.
That's tragic. Wow.
And as a result, the Iroquois Memorial Hospital was built as a memorial to all those victims. You didn't know that?
No, that's a huge theater, too.
That is big.
Did anyone get out alive? Or was
Yeah, a few
all
people got out
600
alive. There are actually, etchings of however they do those photographs back there in the magazines. But you can see they showed pictures or drawings of how people got out. They crawled out top story windows and all kinds of stuff.
Lord.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's
what
Bessie.
An uplifting answer.
Did you know Bessie DuBois was from Bedford?
Yeah.
Nope. I know of another famous person.
Who was it?
Claude Akins. The actor Claude Akins.
Claude Akins.
Very old actor. But
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, we're back to Vera.
Oh, there's only one left.
Yeah, I know.
Players Theater.
Okay. Patrick Woods placed second place in Guitar Players Magazine 2006 Guitar Superstar in front of judges Joe Satriani and Steve Lukather. Many guitar magazines have come on the scene in the last years, but Guitar Player remains the originator and the innovator for guitar players. During the 1980s, Guitar Player featured one of the following to help with the sale and distribution of the magazine. Which one was it? Issues came complete with an assortment of individually designed guitar picks with famous guitarist signatures, such as Pat Metheny and Al Di Meola. B. Thin plastic record sound pages were placed in the magazine containing music such as unreleased recordings by Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. Or C. Each issue contained an entry ticket for a contest to win a Fender Les Paul Custom signed by Les Paul.
I think I'll go with A. I like the idea of picks.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't A. It was a thin plastic record. Did you know that? Oh, you didn't know that? Sound pages,
We're all in the same boat.
Yeah, you can play it.
Oh, yeah, I remember those, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, what's our score here?
We've got Christina with 0 and Vera with 1.
That means we go into our bonus question.
All right.
Okay, Christina gets this question, and it's not easy, I've got to warn you, and hopefully Patrick will know the answer so he can give you lots of clues.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. An umbrella or parasol, and by the way, I wrote this because of your album, Umbrella. Right? Hannah P.S. has an album called Umbrella. An umbrella or parasol is a folding canopy supported by wooden or metal ribs and is usually mounted on a wooden, metal, or plastic pole. Have you ever used one? Okay. It is designed to protect a person against. How about you, Maggie? You ever used?
I wish there was something that I could carry with me when it rains to prevent me from.
Yeah.
I get so wet.
I know.
It's just awful.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Soaked.
Yeah.
My hair, especially.
Yeah. Well, I'll work on that. Down through time, the umbrella has been referred to by many names. Which of these is not a name for umbrella?
Okay.
Is it A, paranage, B, brawly, C, gamp, D, brogershank?
Good grief.
Is it paranage, brawly, gamp, or brogershank?
These all sound like made-up words.
Yeah, they do. All of the above.
Are these things that you've called an umbrella, or is this historically accurate?
It's a little doubtful here.
I've done my work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Okay,
Let me read them one more time.
This will help.
A, paranage, B, brawly, C, gamp, D, brogershank.
Oh, I think George had a cramp
Which
there.
one did you? Got a cramp in my. Yeah. Which one could it possibly not be?
Well, my gut wants to go with B.
D is correct. I want you to know that in Britain, umbrellas were sometimes referred to as gamps, after the character Mrs. Gamp in the Charles Dickens novel Martin Chuzzlewit.
No one has read that book.
Again, I feel like that's not a real title.
And brawly is a slang word for umbrella used often. Yeah.
Like, get your brawly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's used in Australia, Ireland, Kenya, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. Okay.
Wow.
So now we know as much as we ever want to know about umbrella.
Yeah, I'm good.
So what the heck is the score?
The score is now Christina with 1 and Vera with 1.
What does that mean?
That means the tiebreaker was actually a tie maker. And as a matter of fact, win or lose, everyone gets lucky on Shoot the Moon. And Vera. have won a sticker, a big Wild Rose Moon sticker suitable for applying to one's Wilmhurst machine, steam engine, chromatic lantern, or dual piston compressor. Congratulations, Christina and Vera. Everybody wins when we play Shoot the Moon.
Well, up next, we'll be back with Patrick Woods, the amazing guitar player. But before that, we'll have a few words of wisdom from our audio sound engineer.
With support from Judith Robert and in memory of our dear friend Tom Kapasinskis, Ely Marshall, and from the generosity of the Marshall County Community Foundation and the Indiana Arts Commission, you're listening to the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour.
Maggie, we have a brief interlude today, right?
That is right. We have wise words from our dear afternoonified Chookaboo, who arrives here dressed in his stylish gas pipes and perpetually sporting his precious giggle mug. Nate Butler.
There's nothing so profound or great as a moment with Nate.
Nate. George.
I'm here too, Nate.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good.
We've missed you, haven't we, Maggie?
I have been weeping. I've absolutely been inconsolable.
It's those pants, I think. You described his pants in your introduction, right?
The stylish gas pipes he's wearing?
Yes, the gas pipes,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
I don't really like calling pants gas pipes now that I say that out loud.
A little suspect.
I don't want pants to have gas in them, if I'm being honest.
I
don't like it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
She's a little off.
Well, you should try turning 70.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
This seems like an awkward segue.
Anyway, you've got some words of wisdom for us today. Is that correct?
Do I ever?
Yeah. Oh, how do you like your new perch, by the way?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's reminiscent of some of the tree houses that I inhabited when I was a wee lad.
Yeah. Radio audience, you can't see this, but George and a crew of Carpenter superstars really have made a brand new sound and light booth here at Wild Rose Moon.
Yeah.
They've been working day and night, and this is Nate, you're christening it right now.
Right as we speak, and it does have the aroma of pine and glue.
Yes.
Yeah. How high are you right now off of paint fumes?
I don't know, but I can tell you my allergies are a little affected.
Not the same, but okay.
So let's cut to the chase here. Let's get some. We want some audio engineering wisdom.
Well, I was thinking about what to include as wisdom, what to purvey while I was eating my frozen blueberries covered with melted cheddar for breakfast. And you seem to
that sounds delicious. I don't mean to impugn.
And I was thinking a lot about AI.
AI?
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, because,
I could use that. I could use that today.
I'm not going to lie. I've been tempted to use it to cheat on songwriting and things like that, but that would take all the fun out of it. But, anyways, I was just thinking that someday I could get replaced by something that's fake art intelligence, and that'd be kind of sad for me. But things change.
But would it give us advice like you do?
You'd have to ask the computer.
Okay, I will.
And that was a moment from Nate. Thinking about all right, we're back with Patrick Woods and your guitar. And you're ready to get going, aren't you?
Pretty much.
Well, do it then. Do it.
The sound guy has to turn me out there. Okay, so once in a while I'll do a vocal, and this is one of them. This is a song I wrote just about petty procrastination stuff. So, oops, I have to lower the mic a little bit. Okay, there we go. This is about soldiering through life's problems and little petty things. This is called There and Back Again. So you're fighting with the time, and you never cross the line. Now you suffocate. But the voice inside your head makes you better off instead in a tranquil state. And fire of this change, I'll make you there. I'll make you go there now. I'll arrange for you to begin, and the world drags you down as it tracks you to the ground, there and back again. Now you wanna take my place, and you cannot stop the race, there and back again. Gonna bring you to the ground. Tomorrow is a strain, just to live for one more game, and I feel the way. You can be your own boss, but there's a line you must cross if you wanna play. And I can't be detained. Time must fly, the mirror shows lines of age. I'll be there, waiting to begin, and the world drags you down as it strikes you to the ground, there and back again. And you wanna take my place, 'cause you cannot stop the pace, there and back again. And you think to smile, 'cause you dream too big with no currency at all. Now you wanna take my place, and you cannot stop the pace, there and back again. Trying to bring you to the ground. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you so much.
All right. So nice to hear you singing. I've seen you, at open mic before, and you've done one song so far, I think.
Two. Well, the first one was like a long time ago. You might have forgotten about it. But it was probably the second or maybe the second or third, first or second time. And then a couple of weeks ago, or when I was here last, I did another tune, which is a cover song, which I'll do tonight, but you can't. I got to do an original this afternoon, so you wanted me to do an all original. So that's just a little sample.
Yeah. Anyway, that's really great. Now, Michael Hedges, you were talking about discovering him at one point, and you were talking about the various effects and things that he developed for the guitar, and you considered him to be like the major innovator, do you think? Or?
Yeah, well, he was kind of what I would call the gatekeeper. He kind of opened the door to what he was hearing, and the rest of us followed. Obviously. No one invents something out of whole cloth. Like Eddie Van Halen didn't invent tapping. It was around before he did it, but he made it into a whole new thing to where it got people's attention. And that's kind of what Michael Hedges did. He turned the acoustic guitar into like this, more like an orchestra, where one man could do all these techniques. He was doing percussion techniques. He was doing... all sorts of. He was also a great songwriter and a singer too. So he had that, and he kind of invented what most people would consider a modern fingerstyle guitar. He was doing all these things, and with like play the guitar more like a piano, or maybe he would strum it a certain way. I even heard where I think he was an electronics major when he went to school, so he knew how to like wire certain cables to where it would give him a certain sound, and no one could figure out how to do it or duplicate it. So yeah, he was brilliant in that aspect to get a certain sound where everybody on earth tries to duplicate that sound. But they really can't get it 100%. I've never seen anybody do it 100%.
And he played at one time a harp guitar, right?
Yeah, he also played harp guitar. I think he pioneered a lot of that stuff too. Obviously, harp guitar was around. It's been around for a long time. But Michael Hedges was doing some different things with that as well. And then you've got players like today, like Andy McKee, who I've played with a couple of times. He does harp guitar too, so he was kind of influenced in that Hedges vein, but he's taken it in his own direction. Everybody's kind of taken the Hedges thing in their own direction.
Yeah. So, and you have played a different kind of guitar too. I was reading in one of the interviews that you played a
treble bass. Yeah, actually it's an electric guitar. It's an electric 10-string. There's like 4 bass strings and 6 guitar strings, so the neck is like that thick. I used to play it in my gigs a long time ago, along with the acoustic. It just got too much. It was just too much in one night to EQ something like that was a nightmare. So I keep them at home now, and I use them for different things, like different. Once in a while, I'll write a song on it, but then I'll translate it to the acoustic. And so it makes me think differently, and it's really good for ambient stuff too. So
yeah. Now, in terms of your albums, talk a little bit about. Do you have a favorite one of those that you've created, or is it the latest one? Or
I haven't made an album in quite some time. That's changing though. I've got like enough ideas now for like the next 3 albums, but it was like. So I've got. Technically, I have recorded 5 albums. My very first one, I don't even put out anymore. It's kind of more like an early demo. But my last 2, I'm very proud of. I have a friend in Cleveland named Brian Hinkey, who's a great fingerstyle guitarist and legend in his own right. Like he's well known within the acoustic world, and he produced my last 2 albums. And if it weren't for him, my last albums wouldn't have come out as good as they did. So I would credit him.
What are those 2? What are the titles of those?
Okay, my last 2 albums, which had really good production, was my latest one. My last one was Candlelight Utopia.
Oh yeah.
And the one before that, called Dawn Before Morning, has a big chip on the front of it.
Oh.
So there were some sailing themes on that album, and Candlelight Utopia was more about the theme was dreaming, different dreams we have as humans, and dreams I've had as a kid up till now. So that's kind of what's going on there.
Well, will you introduce the dream of your next song?
Sure. I'm not sure if it's a dream or not, but because this is on the Gone Before Morning album. This is a song I've had around for a long time now, and it's just simply called Morning Wind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I sing the body electric. That is such a great experience watching you play and become one with your compositions. It's a joy. It's actually a joy to watch you perform.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing these songs. Now, you're from over Warsaw way, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so it's so lovely to have your participation in the Moon and to have your talent come and flow through here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It's an honor. It's great. It's a great place. This is a great place. It really is. And you're doing a great thing for society by having this place. It really... when I found out about this place, man, I got really excited because it's these days it's kind of a struggle to find places like this. So you're doing a great thing.
Thank you so much. We work at being a good listening room.
With support from Judith Roberts and in the memory of our good friend Tom Kapasinskas, and with additional support from Marshall County Community Foundation and E. Lee Marshall, you've been listening to the Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour.
Thank you, Patrick, for your inspired songs and stories. We hope you'll come back and visit us at Wild Rose Moon Radio Hour again sometime. And we want to also thank our music producer, John Baylor, our announcer, Maggie Kubley, stage manager, Howard Gibbs, our Rosie reader, Dan Schupert, audio engineer, Nate Butler, photographer, Matthew Bergmoser, video producers, Jim Yoakum and Jonathan Nixon, production coordinator, Sasha West, hospitality coordinators, Jennifer Reed, Ashley Matthews, Martina Sam, and Christina Merriman, our finance wizard, Frank Filson, our moonlight maker, Gene Pazdurka, and our visionary consultant, Maisley Matthews. And special thanks to our applausologist, Michelle Schricker, for her support of the Moon, its mission, and me. And a big extra special thanks to WVPE 88.1 Public Radio for helping to make the moon shine over Michiana tonight for the past 6 years. John? Yes, George. Will you sculpt the air, ensuring it vibrates and excites the anvils and stirrups nested inside our collective craniums, thereby unleashing visions of those ancient wiry steeds which gallop on the thin fabric of our post-diluvian time zones?
I'll give it the old college try. So when you think you lost that life, oh, pain and heartache, till your soul was strife, just remember, as you're tumbling down, it won't be long till the river goes round. The river goes round, round the bend. The river goes round, round, round till the very end. And when it stops, it starts again. It won't be long till the river goes round. It won't be long till the river goes round and round and round, my friend.
Are you going to be